I'm fascinated with it. I'm fascinated with how the brain works, how you can be given a problem and, you've got to find a solution rather than whatever. So I'm fascinated. There was none of that, mid-90s in football. It was probably the last thing to come in, with the money, the diet, the sports psychology. It just wasn't there, mate, was it? It just, wasn't offered to me. Where I think, and it goes right back to, you said something right at the beginning of this about footballers, mate. I don't share this with a lot of people, but since we're on the sports psychology of sport and how footballers are perceived, I've got this big thing about footballers at the end of the day are just human beings. We're very privileged because we do something we love and we got paid financially very well for it. But that doesn't take away the fact that we have the same problems as my mate who's a plumber or my mate who's an electrician or yourself who's a fantastic journalist. We all share similar problems, whether it's to do with our relationships, life, growing up, adolescent, whatever it may be. We have them same problems. I went away with Ireland, and my wife, my girlfriend at the time was pregnant. She was about 9 weeks pregnant. And I got a phone call on the Sunday night that she was losing the baby. And I flew back. It was Sunday afternoon. I flew back Sunday night and we lost the baby. And I cried and cried and cried all night. And I got on a plane on the Monday morning and I flew back to Dublin. And the physio and the head of security, Tony Hickey and Mick Byrne, physio and head of security, were waiting on the runway for me. And I got off the plane and I cried my eyes out. And I went and met the lads who were at the pitches. Mick McCarthy gave me a big hug and he said, "How are you?" And I was in a state of shock. I went, "Fine." And I played on the Wednesday. My girlfriend was all right. She had family around her and all that. I was in shock. I just didn't know what to do. I cannot remember the game. I can't remember the result. I couldn't even tell you now who we played. All I remember is the pitches, flying back, and that's it. And them being on the runway. They're the biggest things in my mind about that. And, what I do take from that is I played in that game. There was 45,000 people there. They didn't have a clue. Not a clue what I'd just done. Not a clue. And they were, they had their opinion about how I played, their opinion about who I was, this, that, and the other. Not a clue what had just happened to me. Not a clue. And I had to, I was young. I was about 27, maybe 28. And I had to get through that on my own. I didn't have a clue, like how to deal with that, the emotions of that, like what effect it was going to have on me. I was upset. I didn't know how to deal with it. There was no psychologist around. And I just remember thinking, no one's got a clue what I've just been through. And they all just judge me now about how I play and how much money I earn and all this kind of stuff. And I am just like everybody else who that happens to. And I don't know how to handle this. So I think in them respects, I think, sports psychology is massive. I think there's a place for it. But, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is we're human beings. We're just human beings.